I didn't realize it was raining until Jeremy texted me and said, we have a storm.
And so, yeah.
Because when you're here, most of the time you can't hear nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And the only time you do is when it thunders. And then you're like, is it close?
When you start next week.
Yeah, my guess it's 6 o'clock. I guess we can go ahead and
Okay.
get started. And when y'all, if y'all go ahead and finish, you don't need to.
No, sir.
Is this a pocket? Yeah. Open up word of prayer. Oh, gracious Father, we thank you for this rain you have sent us, oh Lord. We needed it, the county needed it, because we've been dry for the last couple of weeks or so, Lord. Just thank you. We ask for your blessings for more. Just be with us tonight. Keep us safe and honor us. Just walk with us in our journeys through life, oh Lord. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Hey, Mike.
Good evening. Little traffic on the way over here.
Oh, okay.
Robert slowing for rain, wasn't it?
Well, there was a big backup on the loop in Athens that I had to detour around, so that cost me.
They usually are at times out there. I'd like to welcome everybody, and as everyone, with y'all to come in late, I think Mr. Bruce had open heart surgery last week, and he called Tracy, and I'll talk with him. I didn't know he was that bad a shape, really, having open heart surgery. And I talked with Mr. Canolas today, and he's doing better. He's supposed to start rehab. He said he's gonna try to make it to our next meeting and run it, and he's he's gonna be at Monday night's board meeting, but won't be to cover it because of what was going on with all the Dollar General stuff and all, so. But, he'll be here Monday too, so. Yeah, everybody looked at the minutes from last month's meetings, the 3rd and the 17th. I entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. I make one.
Jennifer made a motion to approve. Second. Second by Lee. Cynthia.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go into new business, and we turn it over to Ms. Tracy.
Okay. So first up, there's 2 applications for Zach Hightower representing Northeast Georgia Outdoors LLC, and they kind of hinge upon each other. So with the board's permission, I'll read both of those together and then give you my notes accordingly. So Zach Hightower, representing Northeast Georgia Outdoors LLC, is requesting a conditional use for the 3.53 acre property to allow the operation of an auction barn for the sale of goats, sheep, poultry, fowl, cattle, and swine. The property is located at 315 Nice Commerce Road in Commerce on map 2, parcel 40 in District 1. And he's also requesting a variance on the same property to be relieved of the paved parking area and perimeter landscaping requirements for the auction barn. Now, Mr. Hightower has got an existing tract of land with the existing auction barn there. These auctions will be held every other Friday night from 6 to 10 p.m., in which that's what our ordinance mandates. It can't go past 10. So it will be inside. He is expecting up to 50 to 100 people per auction. The property is located on East Commerce Road and Cody Fowler Road, but the entrance and exit is off Cody Fowler. So this request requires a conditional use to allow it. And as far as the comp plan, it's in the Matico West character area, which this is inconsistent with the encourages a mixture of industrial and commercial office-related uses. So while inconsistent with the comp plan, the current land use pattern in the area is residentially ag uses. With this being an agribusiness, I mean, I do feel like it's consistent with the current land use pattern, although it's not consistent with the character area. So his requirements are 15 paved parking spaces with wheel stops. He's actually planning on having 50 spaces, but wants them to all be gravel. So there is a variance request under section 11.0.2F automobile parking requirements that could possibly remove him from paving those 15 spots and moving them gravel. He does have to pave or concrete the driveway apron, and then it also requires a 10-foot wide landscaping buffer around the perimeter of the property. He is requesting a variance under 11.1.2J under zoning buffers and screening requirements to be relieved of the landscaping requirement. And that is pretty much it. And I've put in your packet the letter of intent that we submitted and the site plans and the business requirements, which I pretty much addressed.
Now, those employees, they had leaders in that last year sometime, want to run ahead of them. There are additional restrictions placed on that rezone. We just did a minute. The DOC not put additional limitations in order for that to be approved before?
In the previous campaign?
Yes.
Not to my knowledge. I heard he was going to offer this kind of spray-in, the new spray-in, but he never did that. I didn't find anything when I did the parcel search. Usually the notes come up about it, and I couldn't see anything.
I have the same question, Dave. I know it was from the land. The question is, but it is that the conditional use. We asked the ordinance to approve the culture house spraying operation, and then went to DOC, they remanded it back to us, and then it went back to DOC, and they had to wait 6 months or something, and then in September, it came back and requested a conditional use permit, which got approved. I think we got a conditional use permit, then with those things that the security not applied back then, but we would that new life buffer.
And that you I'm happy that that was approved.
I believe that was a situation that led to the text amendment for a conditional use for an ag-related business.
Is that right?
It may have been.
I think it is. So that would have explained the lapse in time before he came back. whether there were additional conditions, I don't know.
Have we had anybody, I mean, was it being posted, have we had the neighbors, because I know the neighbors across the street, we've done several rezones for smaller, more densely, and if we've done all ones across the street, in order to subdivide some parent parcels and stuff like that.
I've not received anything. Oh.
I remember there was some opposition.
You have to quit church to do this job.
There were questions about traffic and noise and things like that.
And, in my analysis, I did cover those points. I did include my conditional use analysis. But yeah, there is a potential there for.
One thing I noticed, like with the sale barn, it's great that it starts at 6 o'clock, but something that was not addressed necessarily is what time are they allowed to, I mean, at some point they bring animals in, so do they do it for the day prior? And, you know, I mean, like in Franklin County, I mean, they are piled up waiting to get, you know, there's a line of people bringing them in. That's part of, you know, that being a 2-lane road, talking about
So you're saying it's inconsistent with our plan, but we can't have an agricultural business in agriculture.
Well, that was long ago, years ago.
It's still not magnificent. It's a long way out of the
He's got the room to park cars. I guess my only opposition would be to make sure that people aren't parking up and down the road. That could be.
Is it one way in and one way out, in a little parcel?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get a 20-foot gooseneck
Exactly.
in there?
Probably not no big road either. It's small county road.
So, does he doesn't have animals on this property right now? He's not.
Yeah. They'll just bring fall the day of the sale and.
Could we get that information? Do you mind finding out as far as both drop-off hours and pick-up? I understand the hours of the actual sale are 6 to 10. Okay. And what it look like before, then auctions are where people are going to be taking animals out at midnight that night, or is that roll over to the next day? Okay. Cool.
One was rather than says all sale. We're still making choices.
Remember, none of that matters unless you make it a condition of your motion.
Absolutely. Okay. As much as anything, just trying to, if we do have people here that are concerned about traffic and something like that, I want to do my due diligence for them to
Sure.
be able to say, hey, we are looking out for traffic in the area during.
Oh, no, those are great questions. That's the kind of stuff we ought to gather. I'm just doing the reminder.
No,
That's the last step to make it matter.
And you'll probably have to remind me of that again.
Okay.
So he's not planning on keeping any animals on this property unless only for auctions that day.
Right. That's my understanding.
Cause I don't think he got any holding pens right now. Oh,
Well, he's got where he's gonna put
Bill.
something in.
He's built a pretty big shed on the backside of the building that has some holding pens. in
Yeah,
it,
he
But those
did.
are for small animals, they're certainly not for cows.
Was to be approved. Like you said, you know that story, give him out the cookie, he's gonna want more. So what,
I've never heard that announced.
to your kids?
No.
Haven't heard it either.
Either.
Oh my God. You
Mouse
give
and
him out the cookie.
Give 'em out the cookie.
He's gonna want more.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's it.
he's gonna go find it, his grandkids.
Full of kids. So, expansion and all this other stuff. If that approved, he can do more, right?
Well, he would just,
Is,
But I mean, a different add-on to it. It's not something that is
if you, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you probably tell us a lot better than I will.
Big Seymour's if you come 98 back toward Dansville,
Uh-huh.
I guess it would be the first road to the right, would be Nice Commerce.
That's what I'm thinking, you say it looks like you got a lot, but 3 acres is not really a lot for that kind of business.
He said it's just like it's something for his family to do, and it'll be,
ran out just the family and every other Friday night that I get sent he does.
go number 3, administration.
okay. Brendan Brannon is requesting to rezone his 7.53 acres from A1 to AR to allow an accessory dwelling unit on the property for a family member. Property is located at in Danielsville on map 37, parcel 105B in District 2. So Mr. Brannon already has a home there on the property, and he's wanting to build
A 2,240 square foot horse farm with an additional 768 square feet.
section for living quarters for his elderly mother to live in as an ADU. So it'll kind of be like a barn dominium. Most of
The building is just for his wife and for that, and they have horses and keep it for that, but then there'll be that small living quarters on the other side. So of course they have to rezone from A1 to AR to allow for the ADU, as well as a 25-acre minimum for ADUs in his current A1 zone. And there's only 4 for the AR zone.
it is in the rural conservation character area, and AR is consistent with that.
I would say, he wants to put his mother out there with family. I think I'll be an animal lover.
Ready for the next one? Okay, Michael Herring is requesting to rezone his 8.20 acres from A2 to AR to split the property into 2 equal tracts of 4.10 acres each, to retain one and to gift his daughter the other. The property is located at 788 Racetrack Road in Danielsville.
On map 67, parcel 13, B4, in District 2. So as I said, he's wanting to split it into 2 equal tracts. He's going to have his home on there, but he's going to continue over there. He's giving his daughter the other for a home site. So it must be rezoned from A2 to AR due to both tracts containing 4.1 acres each. His current A2 zone requires a 10-acre minimum, and AR requires a 4-acre minimum. So for the road frontage, the property has road frontage on both Highway 98 and on Racetrack Road. So they will have
More than ample road frontage for both tracts. Mr. Herron's tract will continue to be accessed off Racetrack Road, but his daughter's tract is going to be accessed off Highway area, and AR is consistent with that. Okay. Brian Whitley, applicant for Jesse Kim, is requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of his 7 acres from HR to A2 to be split and combined with adjoining property 0038-031C,
and the remaining 5 acres is staying in the AR zone. Property is located at 2771 First at Church Road in Danielsville on map 38, parcel 31B in District 2. So, he's essentially selling his neighbor from the back portion of his property, 2 acres. And the neighbor is willing to absorb that 2 acres into his 17.4 acres. And that will leave Mr. Kim with 5 acres.
So Mr. Kim, his 5 acres can remain in the AR zone, but the 2-acre portion will have to go to A2 to be absorbed
into that other property. And Mr. Kim's 5 acres will have ample road frontage that will be left. It is in the rural conservation character area, and it is consistent with the comp plan. I don't know if you remember, at the end of 2024, Mr. Kim got a rezone with it, and he had purchased 2 acres from a different adjoining property owner to combine with his then 5-acre tract. He wanted a desired garden area at the front of the property. So that was approved by DOC on January 25. And you recognize that name, that he essentially took 2 acres from his other neighbor and now he's selling
on the back part, and now he's taking 2 acres from the back part and is selling his other neighbor. And then the next one is the neighbor that he's selling to. And so number 6 is Wainland, he goes by Tony Howe, is requesting to rezone his 17.4 acres from A1 to A2 to allow a 2-acre portion from adjoining property, map 3831B, to be combined with his acreage for a total of 19.4 acres and to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located in District 2. So his current tract has no structures and it's used for farming purposes. So he's wanting that 2 acres from Mr. Kim to combine with his. So that his entire tract will need to be rezoned to A2 because in the current A1 zone there's a 25-acre minimum. So we need to go to the A2 zone where there's only a 10-acre minimum. However, this parcel is landlocked, but it's accessed by an existing easement that's provided through an adjoining parcel. It is in the rural conservation character area, and it is consistent. And this property is actually not in Cuba, although I would think it would be, but it's not.
Tracy, can you tell us that there is an easement? This is just a general question. There is an easement, like in this case?
Mm-hmm.
That means that is a recorded easement, not just they told us that they have.
Oh, yeah, no, it's recorded.
If you look at number 5, next to the last page, it's shown on there, flat, recorded flat.
So that must have been in there.
I'm sorry, I didn't know y'all didn't have anything.
Well, it probably was in our email.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a packet, so I just read my own, yeah. I thought the packet was the same as the email.
You get the email and the packet, but that wasn't in the packet.
Gotcha.
Okay, illustration.
Okay. So the next one, actually the next two is from the same property owner, so I'll just, and they kind of hinge upon each other. So I'll read those together. Jason and Christy Spartain are requesting a dual rezone
for their 25 acres. They want to rezone a 4-acre portion from A1 to AR to split and to rezone the remaining 21 acres from A1 to A2 to bring the property into compliance with zoning regs. Property is located at 380 Spectre Nicholson Road in Nicholson on map 16, parcel 143 in District 1. And they are also requesting a variance to allow their proposed 4-acre tract to be accessed with only 23.66 feet of road frontage, resulting in a 126.
and I've already stated where the property is located. So part of this analysis, or my comment, so they're having to cut the 4 acres out for finance purposes. So they didn't want to
have the place on the whole 25 acres, so that's the reason for rezoning it to allow us to cut those 4 acres out. So of course it required a dual rezone because the remaining 21 acres no longer fits in the A1 category, so that's the 25 acre minimum. So we're having to take it to A2. Now, the property only has 23.66 feet of road frontage off Spectre Nicholson Road. It also has a 30-foot existing easement off Nowhere Road. The reason for having both is this 25-acre tract was split from a 61.23-acre tract in March of 24. It did not have the required 150 feet of road frontage, so an easement was created. However, they are unable to access this 4-acre tract with the existing easement due to its location. This tract is on the other end, opposite end of the property, and due to the topography of the land and it containing swampy areas, that existing easement just can't be provided there. So
their only option was to ask for the variance under section 11.1.2E, public street frontage, to allow that 4-acre tract to just only have 23.66 feet.
Or
It is,
just pledge their whole 25 acres, which I assume they already did on their construction loan, unless they're building it out of pocket. Which most of us don't have the money to do.
exactly.
I think they, I know what,
They sold the house they lived in and lived it after I crossed the road.
they have probably give to them by this, right there.
Her mom.
Her mom, yeah,
Christie's mom.
yeah, Cheryl.
So isn't that a problem with, emergency,
No,
No.
having that short?
I think they can get, Jason called me here about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I talked to him. He said they can get equipment trucks in there when they're building a house. The road, 23 foot is wide, I think it's 30 foot, but 30 foot, that's all you're allowed on the easement, I think, to get commercial vehicles in and out. And it actually starts over, goes right behind the church and goes back in there, there, on Road Road, Forest Chapel Church.
It is in the rural conservation character area, and this is consistent with the plan. And it's not in Cuba, surprisingly.
This is one of those things that's always baffled me, and I've made comments about it to CPL and looking at our new UDC several times, and I still don't know where they stand on it, but it's like we require 150 feet of road frontage, but we'll grant a 30-foot easement.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense.
It does.
Well, that's not the thing here, though. This is gonna be a new tract with only 23 feet of road frontage and no easement.
So
Right.
that's not an easement then, so.
No, that's not an easement.
Mm-mm.
So
This is 25 acres that's only accessible by a 30-foot easement. On the other side of the
Yeah.
25 acres, there's no frontage on nowhere, but it has an 30-foot easement nowhere. Its only actual road frontage is this 23 feet, which is multiples less than the
Like a-
requirement for anything.
Mm-hmm. Like a flag lot.
I think it, the way I understood it, it was a road for pasture or something other in there at one time, where they went in the back of that lot there.
So that doesn't go with our, standard. The 150,
That's why they're asking the variance.
I know, but they want an easement, they might want.
No, they're asking
No,
for a
they
variance.
actually,
Okay.
Easement out of the picture,
Okay,
no
they don't
easement.
want-
They're wanting to vary from the 150 foot down to 23 feet, which is why there's a deficit of 100, whatever the number trace
the
is.
easement comes here, it's here, goes
Yeah, I
behind the
understand.
church, where they want it right here. And I know that swamp, cause I've been in there hunting behind that several years ago, and creek swamp back in there, so.
So there's a reason we said 150 feet.
I would hope so.
So, I mean, what
Well,
I'm
and there is,
saying-
because,
we're taking-
driveway widths, you don't want a lot of driveways next to each other coming out of the roads.
because I'm saying that is not, that's like a fourth, or not even fourth. 150, and we're only going down to 23.
It's less than 150.
Yeah.
126 feet short, and 126 feet short.
If they had cut out a landlocked parcel, then they could get a 30-foot easement.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which makes no sense to me either.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know about this one.
He pretty much told me he wanted to use that road because it was existing.
Yeah, and they have to use it if they're gonna live.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be their main entrance.
Tracy.
Okay. Now this next three, it's a doozy. I'm just gonna read all of them together and y'all bear with me, it's a lot. But, so Tammy Silvers is requesting a dual rezone for her 20 acres. She wants to rezone a 2.162 acre portion from A1 to A2 to split and combine into an adjoining property, map 9, parcel 52, and to rezone the remaining portion, let's see, the remaining 12.453 acres from A1 to A2 to bring into compliance with zoning regs. And that parcel is located at 32 Jottam Down Road in Danielsville on Map 9, parcel 43 in District 2. Her second request is to rezone her 5.43 acres from A2 to AR to allow a 0.998 acre portion to be split and combined into a 5.416 acres and to bring the remaining 4.864 acres into compliance as an individual tract. This property is located at 0 Jottam Down Road in Danielsville on Map 9, parcel 45-01 in District 2. And the third request is to rezone a .27 acre portion from A2 to AR to split and combine to AR to split and combine into adjoining property Map 9, parcel 45-01. The remaining acres will stay in the A2 zone to be combined into the adjoining property, which was 9, parcel 52, and it's located at 0 Jottam Down Road, Map 9, parcel 44, District 2. So, this is a mouthful, and it's probably one of the harder ones I've had to put into writing, but the end result is simple. So I don't know if you guys have taken a look at the narrative that I put in there.
So essentially, this bill is on 4 adjoining properties, with a combined total of 33.94 acres. She's just moving around the entire property line to arrive at the same number of proposed tracts, but with different
Acreages and configurations. The configuration is being done due to existing fence line and topography.
Her intent is to sell 3 of the 4 tracts and to retain one where her existing home is located. So there's actually 4 parcels involved, but only 3 have to be rezoned because one of them's already zoned what it should be. So the parcel 43 is 20 acres and it's zoned A1. Parcel 44 is 2.82 acres zoned A2. Parcel 45-01 is 5.43 acres zoned A2. And parcel 52 is 5.69 acres and zoned A2.
So this transaction will require 3 separate rezones that are contingent upon one another. Although there are 4 parcels involved, only 3 will have to be rezoned.
So the end result of all 4 proposed tracts will end up in tract 1 is 12.453 acres that will be A2 with the existing home for Mrs. Silvers to retain to continue living there. The tract 2 will be 6.439 acres,
which will be the AR zone, which is vacant and to sale. The third tract is 4.864 acres, which will be zoned AR, which is vacant to be sold. And the fourth tract, which is zoned A2, and it's vacant to be sold. So all 4 proposed tracts will have adequate road frontage. This is in the rural conservation
character area, and those 2 sites are consistent with the comp plan. If approved, the correct zoning classifications will be assigned to the current lawfully non-conforming property. In addition, some parcel sizes will be improved. Lastly, one of the current
tract is accessed by a 20-foot easement, and the new configuration will allow this existing easement to be done away with.
Surveyed, ain't she?
Yes, and that's the site plan that we got. There's several site plans, and it was so hard
This is how we had to figure it out.
I
Thank
just,
God they had a survey.
I just leaned it down here where the seals right here, it's surveyed back in March.
Yeah.
We had to really figure out how we were gonna word all of this, and we
They
couldn't
earned their
fit it.
money's worth.
We couldn't fit it all in the application. It was crazy. That's the hardest one I've ever tried to make fit.
Oh, on track 2, what kind of buildings are on there? There's 2 buildings. It doesn't say barns, it says buildings.
I would have to
Oh,
look at
down
the
here.
application.
Right there.
There's no homes on it except
A
that.
barn and an outbuilding.
Yeah, there's only one home on that one track, but the rest of them are just barns and outbuildings.
Okay, so they have a barn and outbuilding.
Would you take all 3 of them up to in one vote, or?
You know,
Yeah, I think you have to.
okay.
Because one can, it continues to the other, so.
Yeah. That's gonna be hard doing one nation for all out there.
Unless you're gonna put conditions to tell us, I don't see any.
Before, I don't know, y'all, it would just be a motion to grant the applications.
Go number 12.
Okay, last but not least, Maeve Davison, applicant for Julia Lund and Roger Hart, requesting a dual rezone for their 20.19 acres. They want to rezone a 5.02 acre portion from A2 to AR to split, and to rezone the remaining 15.18 acres from A2 to business, with the condition that the use of the property be limited to storage of materials and equipment used for their ag business, including but not limited to construction and repair of poultry and stack houses. Property is located at
92 Wildcat Ridge Road in Lewiston, on Lot 87, parcel 9-A1 in District 4. Now, this comes back from violations that
Straight Court, and she has hired Mr. Davison and Mr. Pruitt, and we've all, no, we've got Mr. Pruitt. And, so we tried to get together to satisfy this, request as best we can. I don't know if you have read the analysis that I put in, or if I need to read all of that to you again, but, I'll be happy to if you want me to. It's just a little lengthy, but would y'all like me to read it?
You're talking about reading something that we already have?
Yes, this narrative, okay. So I did want to mention, if this gets approved, that the consent order that was attached, will be, let's see, will need to be, the vote needs to be somehow worded, and Mike, please help me with that, to be in line with what the consent order that was agreed upon.
Well, now, y'all told me not to come over here when you met with Mays and Tindall, so I assumed that y'all did that in the application. You matched the application to the consent order. I hope so.
Mhm.
just making sure that everything on here matches everything that
Yes.
this application holds.
Yes, it does.
So when it,
Condition, but yeah, but otherwise it matches.
Yeah, I was running out of space.
Yeah, I see. So yeah, to make a long story short, she was, y'all may know, I didn't know her, but y'all may, apparently she has a controlled poultry house construction and repair business. She has her home and some other has her home property and then some other properties that are Zone B around it. She has this tract that's agricultural with a couple of barns on it, but she was also storing business-related stuff in those barns. And so, actually, an existing barn, one she's building. So she was cited for that. We had the magistrate court hearing. Judge Patton told us, see if y'all can come up with a resolution, which I do not blame you for. I think that's proper. That's what I would do if I were him. And so the suggestion, we all met together, as Tracy said, lawyers, staff, a lot of staff there in the conference room or the chairman's office, and the staff recommended a B rezone with this condition. They agreed to it. That's been put in the consent order. So if this is granted, then the citation's dismissed and all the violations no more.
And part of that was, she was gonna be required to do some landscaping and paving the driveway and the parking lots and whatever, but Mr. Pruitt was saying that the terms they worked out.
Well, no, you and I looked at it and determined that none of that required a variance, right?
Mm-hmm. You're right. I'm
So
sorry.
there's no variance being applied for, it's just a rezone.
Exactly.
and there were other things like the stormwater she had already had, like it was not required because she had a hydrology report.
Right.
So everything that would have been required, she'd already met or didn't apply.
Yeah, that's right.
So the existing tract has her home on it, and the building business if it has a home on it. So she's having to cut that home back out. They were separate for up until January of this year, and she decided to put them all together. Well, now she's having to split them back out. So that's why there's two.
Oh, that's right.
Zones.
I forgot, yeah.
So she did that already? Watch that out.
I don't know why it's so, yeah, actually, this tract actually still has her home on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that part will be cut out and zoned AR, and then the rest of it will be zoned business with that condition.
Okay.
So it'll just be taken up at once. It'll be a dual.
Right.
We just need to, what if I will note, we just need to make sure if the motion is approved to add the consent be part of that. Is that right, Mike?
No, the one, you matched the language here, so we don't have to.
Okay.
He said all we have to do is.
Yeah, all you have to do, you just have to rezone it to B with the condition, just like it's written on the first page under
Okay,
proposed.
perfect. I just want to make sure if I need this note, remove it, add it.
Yeah, you don't need that
Make
note.
sure we're all on the same page.
The rest of it all falls into place if it's rezoned.
Well, if I read that right, if the board of commissioners don't approve it, she gets fined, right?
That's right. Well, it goes, the judge hasn't decided the case yet, so it would go back to him to finish the decision, yeah.
This is just a recommendation, if we pass
So
it,
approve
we go forward,
as
and all charges be dropped, if it passes.
Yes, that's right.
As long as it's approved as written.
All right, I'm glad to ask it. We're struggling as it currently is, and I understand this has been mediated basically, and it's presented to us as it is.
Yeah,
But then coming back up 5,000 feet from this,
yeah.
this doesn't follow the comp plan. And,
Right.
you know, we're piercing it with R1s everywhere, and here we are now with a business piercing the comp plan, and as we continue to punch these non-conforming things in here,
And you'll have to ask staff, because what Mays and I had discussed is, rezoning it, or doing a conditional use permit on the existing, tract for the agriculturally related business. Staff vehemently felt like business was more appropriate than that, and Mays and I said, okay. And this is what we ended up with. Why? You will have to ask staff why they felt that way.
But it already has businesses around.
in my view, and this is just mine, the zoning that we put in place in '94, it is what it is. And so the comp plan that we just came up with, and I know a lot of times staff presents to us that there are smaller tracts around, in this case, there are other businesses. We can't control what was done in the past. We're trying to look forward to be able to have appropriate land use in these areas. And so that's the reason that I referenced the R1 with me personally. Those are ones that are always kind of sticky for me because he's a highly paid individual and he has to defend these type things. And so if we grant this, then the adjoining property owner who has a automobile repair business kind of thing, and he wants to put that, how do we have a legal leg to deny him that when we have multiple in that area as it is? And that's actually not paid as the automobile repair because your litigation is highly paid. Which is why I sit here lowly paid and try to keep from having to hire me. If y'all want.
She's already in the ag zone.
But say she's running the business off that ag zone.
You can have agricultural business in the ag zone, am I not right?
Well, and that's back to what Mike was saying, staff, didn't, in fact, Eddie Pritchett, he is now our department head, and he was not content with it being
just an agribusiness, because in her first talk with us, she had stated she was going to build additional buildings and might lease those out.
Oh,
so, which has nothing to do with her business.
right.
So I think that's why he was uncomfortable.
But a conditional use for an agribusiness would not permit that anyway.
Correct.
So,
Or once we rezone this business, at that point, it's anything that falls in the business class.
No.
That particular cost, that particular cost.
But if you're looking at further people wanting to come,
Which, I mean, it's on the outskirts of Royal. I mean, it's on the outside of Road, Shirley Road. I mean, it's in an area where, I mean, there's county water because we get water coming from that area. So the potential is there.
Right.
But once again, it's just something personally that I struggle with is once you pierce that, then how do you pick who is and who is not?
Yeah. Oh, well, you said we already got it covered where she can't. It's an ag business, but because she said she wants to rent stuff out, that you said is covered. Yeah.
forget the rent stuff out.
Okay.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, honestly, because that would not be permitted under either what's proposed because of the condition of business, nor would it be permitted under the conditional use permit because it's not agriculturally related. So I'm not sure why that's part of the conversation. Again, I have to leave the staff to explain that.
Mike, a few minutes ago, you mentioned on our first case that, I guess you were referring to 72216, where it deals with businesses in agricultural zones, was amended on August 2nd of 2021. Do you remember why it was amended or what the previous one slide to change it to that, because the way I really do it is that businesses, agricultural businesses can be conditional use on zones, and those below. And what we're talking about here is new fields. I mean, when I was there, I'm thinking, there's a lot of advantages to making this a conditional use. I think there are a lot of advantages to making it business.
Again.
Do you remember what that was about, that amendment?
What the amendment was about?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't explain why the recommendation's being made here for business. I remember, the broad outline of it was that it was this spraying operation for some sort of agricultural trucks. You weren't here, Tracy, well.
The probably
Okay.
the high tower case.
Yeah, there's poultry something solutions.
Yes, exactly, that's right.
For poultry houses.
And so, looking just from a common sense standpoint, looking at it, it was, this is an agriculture-related thing. It probably is less offensive in an agricultural district than a bee district. Yet we don't have a solution for it. So that amendment, number 16, was the solution.
So he's going what I just said. If agriculture is a business, why are we doing a business?
It gives examples, and then it says, and similar businesses.
That was our department head's call.
The higher ups than what we are.
What did he?
It said agribusiness services in the commercial production of agricultural products. Chicken houses are certainly agricultural. And then it goes on to say agricultural products defined as poultry, livestock, crops, and timber. I mean, to me, this fits as a conditional use for what we're dealing with here. I can see some problems with business. This is going to be a big thing at the top. Once we establish business, anything that's connected under permitted for business, I just think I would like to see it as a conditional use necessarily. But I wanted to make sure that I was interpreting that right.
I'm sorry.
Another scenario inside of this, the two properties that you are looking at this, to the right of it were similar businesses, that as the economy does what it did, it went belly up and other people have bought it and they're not poultry related any longer. I mean, they make storage buildings, in these adjoining parcels and those type of things. And kind of coming along with what he said is, we can't control once you zone something that, if it's permitted underneath that classification, then.
So can we?
Well, you're controlling it with a condition. And I get and the only way you could control it as it grows is to continue doing conditions, I suppose.
And I still have this pie in the sky thing that we're gonna have a rewrite in a current zoning of a modern, county, is well for us to be able to utilize.
Since we are a recommending body, can we not?
Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny too.
Can we not go back and recommend that it be agriculture with a conditional use?
Well, at this point, we would have to redo the consent order, which we could do. I assume the attorneys for Ms. Lund, one or both of them, will be here for the public hearing, so maybe that'd be the time to bring it up. And, if that's the.
If you wanna be in the fly, then no wait, that's what he just said.
Hey, I don't care. I don't know.
Well.
I was just so afraid that I wasn't interpreting that 72216 correctly. To me,
I can only argue with my own client to a certain point, and that point was reached, and I couldn't go any further. This is what we have.
Okay. Fair enough. If the presentation is that, to me, if the presentation is and staff is recommending business for the reasons given, and we feel differently, then we can make a motion to that effect,
Right.
I guess, and vote on it.
Yeah, But I'm saying, we already have an agricultural business in our zoning ordinance that under conditional use, like you said, this falls under. So why should we have to make that business?
And Mr. Pritchett's not watching this, y'all might want to clue him in to be here to explain, to give his side of that.
Right.
Public hearing meeting.
Okay.
RBM request.
Is that it? Do I hear a motion? Any more discussion?
All right.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
So moved.
Who was the first? I'm sorry.
Lee,
Lee?
Cynthia seconded.